Hello and welcome, Rangers. I'm Joe here with me, my co-host Stan.
Hello and greetings.
And this is our last video of the year and our last Power Ranger video of the year. And today, our review of Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, that tune is so catchy,
Oh yeah.
is about episode 2. And it's fitting that we should end with episode 2. Now, on the face of it, this is a really good episode. But problems creep in. Now, this might not be the most popular thing to say, but almost all of the problems of this season, all the seeds are laid and planted in this episode. And I'll get to it in a minute. And get to it gradually. Now, let's start with the plot. Most of the team are off on the alien planet and trying to help Maya save her people. Leo runs into trouble and things get a little, as Darkwing Duck would put it, dangerous. Kai, meanwhile, has honestly some of the best scenes. He is haunted by what has happened and has the flashback of never leave a comrade in arms behind. And is constantly repeating to himself, I should never have left them. Until he sees a tourist pamphlet about the In-Space Rangers ship and gets a stroke of genius. And this is where we're going to get to one problem with the writing of this episode. Early in the episode, he can't pilot the ship, but at the end of the episode, he can pilot it. Just as well as Damon. Which is it? So, here's the thing. Alpha can fly it. Kai, clearly, if he can't fly it, learns in this episode. Damon is superfluous. Actually, he's superfluous throughout this entire season. He doesn't have an arc. He doesn't have a character. He doesn't have anything. He is superfluous and means nothing and has no purpose and role in the entire season. He contributes nothing to the team. And so, this is the first problem with this season that has its seeds planted in this episode. Damon should not have actually been a character.
There's another issue here because we know Kai is an officer. Flashing his badge saying, I'm taking the ship. He's saying to Damon, hey, I need to pilot this ship.
You don't get to question me, you're a civilian. Damon says, can I see your orders? Now, some mechanics might say that, but here's the problem. Most won't. And Damon as a character is sheep. He just follows. He never questions or anything throughout the entire season. So this is completely out of character of his character, so he should never have said, can I see your orders? Any other character would say that, but not him. So we have his behavior contradicting itself. And this is the sign of bad writing. Now, as to the rest of the team, they get into a fight, and immediately we see that Kai and Damon... I'm not even going to count Damon anymore. Because, honestly, in-universe, he doesn't really exist. So, if they're going to forget about him all the time, except for one episode?
Two.
Two?
Oh,
okay.
Wait, episode 3 or 4 is about him. The next episode is
like 25.
I think a little later.
Yeah, so he has 2 episodes. And the actor doesn't do a very good job with the character. So we have no contributions here. He's the total opposite of Joel, and Tommy has no presence. So I'm just going to say Kai from now on. And if you think I'm bashing, because I am. Now, Kai manages to make it in time, which is a little weird. But the rest of the team tries to fight, and Mike gets knocked around by the big bad, only to then have his hand fall on the sword and become the King of Britain by pulling it out. I'm sorry, but There's so many Excalibur jokes that can be said, and that we will crack. Make no mistake, we have every intention of honoring Britain. The only problem I have also here is that the Lady of the Lake didn't appear. I'm just saying. And now, but enough about, I don't know, Ariel. Let's see.
Let's cut to the chase.
Yeah. Swords are pulled, and our team pulls them out. And here's another problem. Maya pulls one out. Now, the reason this is a problem is that Maya is not... Okay, in a few episodes, she's going to eat a cake that she knows was meant for someone else because she has no consideration for others, even though she knows what a birthday cake is. And there are going to be some idiots, we'll call them. And the truth is, she does make reference to birthday cakes before she eats it. So she knows what it is. So the problem is, Maya is not considerate of other people. And truth is, and I have an article planned for a few weeks on this, the color yellow in Power Rangers is a maternal color because in actual color psychology, yellow symbolizes the maternal instinct. There's a reason Jonathan Kent in Superman is synonymous in a lot of depictions with the color yellow or a slight tint of orange. The reason he's synonymous with yellow is because in some ways he represents more the Earth influence over Clark Kent, whereas Jor-El represents a much more distant father figure. Jonathan is almost a maternal figure, but he is also, as said, a bit of a more softer male patriarchal influence over Clark. And there's a reason, for example, Martha Wayne is often shown with yellow and also as a blonde, but that's a more side thing. The truth is, yellow is maternal. Trini was maternal. Aisha was maternal. Even Ashley had to learn to be maternal. You have, of course, the Yellow Ranger of Lightspeed Rescue was fairly maternal. And although she was also Power Rangers' first lesbian character, but she was maternal. You have Dino Thunder. Kira is a bit of a big sister to Connor and Ethan. She was maternal. And this is the core of the Yellow Ranger archetype and character. Maya is not maternal.
And you'll have people that say, oh, what about Chip? Chip does have the protector archetype. That's often...
Well, he was supposed to be maternal or grow into a maternal or a soft Jonathan Kent style character or be a Samwise character. Samwise Gamgee is very much a maternal or a soft masculine character of sorts for Frodo. But here's the problem with Chip. He never had a character arc because the writers just, for some reason, it's called Nick Force for a reason. But enough about failed seasons. The truth is, Maya, there is a total misunderstanding of her character. And even to an extent, I would argue she should have been pink and Kendrick should have been yellow. And I know that'd be a somewhat controversial thing to say, but it's just, Maya's much more the love interest archetype, and Kendrick's is much more the maternal Trini type character. And arguably they were mismatched. Also, there's the problem that Maya, as she's established here, and as she kind of sticks to throughout the series, is much more of the damsel in distress character. She is arguably very synonymous, and she just reminds me of Princess Peach. She is really... She comes bearing a warning, like Princess Leia, of this encroaching dark empire that has sacked her home. So, in her, it's basically, I need you, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's her role in the first little bit. Then she ends up, yes, guiding them to their Zords. But she does much more. She's always in danger throughout the series, or she's just in the background and doesn't really do anything. Arguably, they should maybe not have made her a ranger, but more of a princess to rescue. And there's nothing wrong with the damsel archetype. It is a staple in literature throughout the ages, and Power Rangers has used it. And arguably, Bulk and Skull were the damsel archetypes, although they rose to the occasion and became the everyman heroes in a lot of ways. But the reality is that there have always been damsels in Power Rangers. I would say Maya should have assumed a role like Lois Lane and probably be more of a love interest for someone like, say, Mike Corbett or something. And that being said, as for Kendrix, we all know what happened with the actress. Honestly, the real life story of the actress is far more inspiring than the actual story of this Power Ranger season, because she overcame leukemia. I mean, that's freaking awesome. That's amazing. She's a real life superhero. And I would argue that killing her off, or Cassie as originally planned, was better than bringing Carone. That came out of nowhere. So the truth is that everything is mismatched here. And I'm also going to make another weird argument. Now, at the end of the episode, Mike ends up caught in an earth fissure and dies. I agree with that. But Leo gets his red sword. And having rewatched this episode and thought about it, I don't think Leo's a good fit for the Red Ranger color. And I actually think removing the red color for a short time this season to have a grand opening when Mike transforms later, like around episode 9 or something, rather than that really terrible outfit of Magna Defender, which was terrible, by the way. I hate the Magna Defender look and powers. It could have worked in a different way, but not the way they did it. But the truth is, Mike, I actually think works better as a Red Ranger. Now, in his case, he has a tough love attitude and a very macho attitude. He is very much a big brother, and I would argue him as Red Ranger would have been a combo of Rocky, in that Rocky was much more of a big brother type to those around him, and Tommy, but also that it would have been a different angle on the Red Ranger, and it would have been much more interesting. And Leo thematically would not have worked. Now, the idea was planted in my head a little when someone brought up a question on an article I recently wrote on my Substack, which the link will be down below, wherein someone commented on green, because of Tommy Oliver as a character, being the thematic metaphysical color of redemption. And I like that idea, and I will be coming up with an article at some point down the road for that too. And I think green would have worked better for Leo, because Leo is supposed to have sinned early on and have been the failure. He is essentially Kenai from Brother Bear, with Kai basically being Denahi. And of course, Sitka is Mike. I think Leo being green and following in this footstep of redemption, where we got to bear in mind his entire arc throughout Lost Galaxy is not about passion. It's all about him trying to live down the shame of how he screwed up in the first 2 episodes. And if that's the case, that means his color should have been green. Because what does Damon have to atone for? Having no personality? Leo has to atone for everything he did wrong.
And that would address one of our complaints about Damon not contributing.
Yeah, because he wouldn't be in the show.
And yeah, I'm a huge Leo fan, and imagining him in something other than red, I don't like. But from a narrative perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah, because the colors are all off here, And I'm not saying we can't have a Yellow Ranger. Um, I just think maybe to an extent we should have had. I know this is controversial. Uh, Probably Kendrick's in the yellow outfit, and maybe a black Pink Ranger. We should have had maybe another female uh, major character because we would have had Maya as a damsel. We would have had, and as a support character, supplying the spirit guide thing. So she's also cast in a bit of the Zordon role, which is a very important role, which arguably is a more important role than morphing in some ways. We would have had Kendricks as Yellow Ranger. I just think that's a much better fit. And for Pink, we would have had someone else who, because Pink's the color of femininity, we would have had the first black Pink Ranger. And this means that Cassie, because she was previously one of the most powerful Rangers on a previous lineup, and she's not much more experienced than the rest of the people on this team, she would be a big sister to them, which puts her not in the role of, well, femininity or woman, but in the role of big sister. So arguably it also fit with her when the time comes for the transition. So the colors are mismatched, and this episode is, on the face of it, good, but thinking about it, there are huge thematic and narrative problems and character problems. Colors are miscolored, if that is a term. But let's rate this. I'm going to say should be a 2, but with all this in mind, I think it falls to a 1.1.
1 3/4. It's a decent episode, but this is an extension of the previous episode.
Yeah, but it continues the previous episode by putting problems before it, which the previous episode did not have.
That's a fair point. We have an irrelevant character, a character that's really miscast. We've got. Had Leo gotten the green sword, we wouldn't have had to worry about filling space.
Yeah, and also I think that by having a Pink Ranger who's a crew member, this means that the focus is not like, I have no idea how Damon even connects to the crew. Shouldn't he be going back to Earth? Why is he sticking around? Like, he has no interest in this, and he has no dog in this fight. Makes no sense. But a female Pink Ranger would meet who's black and whatnot, because you need to have different races. No, I just noticed they always do this in Power Rangers. So you kind of have to do it. I'm not exactly keen on this sort of thinking normally, but with Power Rangers, this was a tradition established in Season 1. It was carried through in Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5, Season 6. It's kind of set in stone at this point. But having an extra character who's part of the crew of Terra Venture is important because it cements the focus on Terra Venture rather than subtracting from it, which arguably Damon on some level does. And even Maya kind of distracts from it. When Maya works more as a spirit guide character. And the other characters should all be from Earth and should bring in the Terra Venture modern man and woman perspective, while Maya brings a much more spiritual perspective, because this is a sci-fi season, much more so than any other. So you have this conflict of those disconnected from nature with someone who's trying to guide them back to nature in a way. And Maya could have also helped tie things in with the whole Guardian subplot for Kai, rather than just verbally abusing Kai over it and just saying, no, you couldn't possibly be the one chosen by the Guardian, when clearly Kai is. So retooling her into a much more mentor, much more encouraging character and into a damsel would have worked better. And you could have had a lot more interesting character arcs and stories. Also, include the commander a little more in the story. Maybe even weirdly make him the 6th Ranger. Because I know he's so much older than them, but like he was a good actor and a good character.
And that kind of thing has been adopted in various Power Ranger seasons.
There's never been a Power Ranger season where you have a 50-year-old as a ranger or something.
I know that eventually Nick Force had one.
Oh! Okay, I didn't watch Nick Force.
Yeah.
I only watched the good Power Ranger seasons.
Yes, that's fair.
But anyways.
Oh, there's also Dino Thunder that had one.
No, Tommy's supposed to be in his 30s.
Oh, okay. You got me there.
Yeah. And I don't think we've got much more to add, so don't forget to smash that like and that subscribe button as though you were Leo taking down one of his enemies. And remember, Rangers, may the power protect you.